Country Tough with Brandy Von Holten. Today, I have a lady by the name of Tiffany Butters. Now then, I met her last year, and then I have been infatuated with her, and I put her into my small circle of people I trust. Okay, so if you've ever met someone and you're just like, this person knows what the heck they're doing, that was my reaction to Tiffany. So, Tiffany, what state do you live in?
Hello, we live in the Springfield, Missouri area.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about you. Like, you got any kids? Are you married?
Yes, so I actually crazily got married at 18, and thankfully we did not kill each other. Now we have 3 beautiful daughters. We've been married 16 years, and we live on a little 10-acre farm out in the country, and my husband is in sales. He works remote half the time and is home half the time, so we like to travel and be outdoorsy, and we homeschool and just live our best life.
Okay, so your husband and you are buff. Okay, y'all are like whenever I think about what does fitness look like, boom, there y'all are. So
I'm not sure we're quite there, but we're working on it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you get my vote of approval. I don't know if the Brandy Von Holten vote really means very much, but I don't know. I think y'all look super healthy. Hey, your husband's into martial arts. Are you into martial arts also?
Yes. So we actually started jujitsu probably about 4 years ago with our girls, and my husband decided to try it just for the workout aspect of it, for the cardio. And from what we gathered before he tried, is it is really a great way for especially men to kind of mentally check out. So he began doing it and is very into it. I say dabble. I dabble in it. I'm not very good. I like to chit chat, to be honest, during class.
Okay. All right. Well, what about your daughters? Is there one of them that's more vicious than the other?
Yes, we kind of started for our second daughter. We felt like she just needed a mental and emotional outlet. Our oldest, Maddie, is 14. Emmeline is 12. Maddie and Emmeline are both in it competitively, but Maddie really is the one that this is a main life goal for her. She's committed. She goes to practice multiple times a week, wants to enter every tournament. And yes, she is what I would consider vicious.
I like to have those people in my pocket. You know what I mean? Because you never know.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
As their mom, I'm like, come with me grocery shopping, girl.
All right. So, Tiffany, the avenue in which I met Tiffany was my husband and I own Von Holten Ranch. We are a trail riding facility in Missouri. We're real close to Sedalia, so we're centrally located in the United States, like a little centrally located, but pretty close. But we used to host weddings, and then we won Missouri's Best Place to Get Married for 22 and 23. But you remember that stuff happened, in 2020. It kind of changed us. And we shut down our wedding venue, and we started doing homesteading classes and hosting a yearly homesteading expo. So I met Tiffany because she is a certified herbalist. So Tiffany, tell us a little bit about the certification process and how you came to love and want to be a certified herbalist.
Yes. So I actually, when I first began, I did not love or know anything about herbalism. I did not want to become certified. I was very hungry for knowledge that was trustworthy. And I was feeling scared and anxiety and overwhelmed at all of the knowledge out there and the fact that you don't know what you can trust. And so I remember one night, so actually our middle daughter was born early, and she had a lot of acid reflux related medical issues. And what they prescribed her was a medicine that she would have to take indefinitely in order to keep her from spitting up. And as we got it from the pharmacy and we were reading the side effects, she was like 6 months old, and we just could not wrap our head around giving her this. And so I began to research other ways. And this led me down just a wild rabbit hole of health that has begun in 2012, really kicked up in 2014, and continues today. So I was researching um, alternative medicines and got into herbal medicine and was very intrigued by all of the information, especially that this is stuff that is our roots. It's stuff that our ancestors used and knew that we've forgotten. And I just wanted a reputable source that I could trust and dig deep. So I found the School of Chestnut School of Herbal Medicine. I enrolled in their small class, fell in love with it, enrolled in their 2-year class, got their certification, and have just never stopped learning.
Well, and you know what I have taken a couple of Tiffany's classes, and she was a presenter at our expo. She's going to be a presenter this year for 2025. The Homesteading Expo is June 20th and 21st. But every time she teaches a class, it surprises me with how simple herbal medicine can be. But, you know, I just had this like fear that it was going to be so out of my realm of understanding, which is crazy because I have a biology degree, I have a degree in criminal justice, and I have my master's in teaching. But I thought that herbal medicine was going to be a lot, you know what I mean? Like be just out there. And, you know, one of the things that I love the most is like my fermented garlic it's in my honey. That stuff has helped out so much. And herbal teas and tinctures. You know, I never in my life would have thought that medicine could be made with vodka. Okay, like that
yes,
just seems
and originally
so funny.
even pharmaceutically it was like really dipping your toe into herbal medicine makes you realize how complicated we have made health. That there are very simple and efficient and cost-effective ways. That was another one for me, is I didn't want to pay someone else to do this because we didn't have the money to do that. And just really learning that you have the capabilities, the knowledge, and no matter where you are in life, the financial backing to be able to do this.
So let's talk to people about tinctures for a second, okay? So explain to them what a tincture is and how you take it, and then, you know what, with it being made with vodka, people are going to want to know about liver damage and given to children and, like, you know, just the dangers of the alcohol that's in it. So, but let's talk about tinctures for a little bit.
Okay, and I do want to start by saying I am not a medical professional, so always consult with a physician if you have questions and things like that. But a tincture is basically taking an herb and using a solvent to get out the medicinal properties. And a solvent, if you've ever made a tea, you have used water as your solvent to get the properties out of whatever tea you were using. So sometimes, like, we look at the verbiage and it gets overwhelming. You're just soaking an herb in a liquid in order to get those properties. The great thing about a tincture is oftentimes what we're using for medicine is disgusting. It is not palatable. And a tincture allows you to take it with you, have it ready at any point, and you're not having to drink a whole cup of tea. So the main tinctures are made out of alcohol, predominantly vodka. The alcohol-free version would be vegetable glycerin, and then another option would be vinegars. I personally do not ever use vegetable glycerin. I would prefer to give my family, even my children, minute amounts of alcohol versus something created in a lab. It feels yucky to me, as well as you're only getting about 40% of the medicinal benefits with vegetable glycerin. I have before created a tincture with vegetable glycerin, and that was for a dear friend of mine that had a very difficult relationship with alcohol. And so that was just not what's best for her. And the great thing about this medicine is we get to make what's best for us.
Okay.
So you just take your herb, you cover it with your solvent. So your alcohol, vegetable glycerin, you could also use the vinegar. You let that sit in a dark room temperature place for 4 to 6 weeks. You strain it out. And what is left, the liquid that is left, is your tincture. And tinctures, if done correctly, especially in alcohol, are good. I say roughly 5 to 10 years, and that is giving yourself a big cushion.
Okay. So this last year, I made my first tincture, and I started with mullein. Okay, so mullein is girl, that plant, it looks funny. It does look funny because it's like 4 or 5 foot tall, and then it's just got this one rod right up the middle, Anyways, it looks funny, but you take those leaves, I washed them off, and then I cut them up and squashed them down into that jar, and I put vodka in there, and then I would roll it around or move it every once a day, and just to make sure I got all the air bubbles out. But so mullein, some people are like, that don't have access to pastures and stuff. Like we've got, with us owning a trail riding facility in Missouri, we have mullein that's not right on the road. A lot of people are stopping and getting mullein that's right on the side of like heavy roads. Well, that thing has like absorbed all of the exhaust and stuff from vehicles. And so you want to make sure and get something that's like as clean and as pure as you can. But you want to talk to them about mullein?
Yes, so mullein is a fantastic respiratory aid. There are just a handful of herbs that I think work extremely well for my family, that we've tried, that we've tested. And mullein is one of the two that we have on hand every winter in order to help our respiratory system. They actually would call it like a cowboy toilet paper because those leaves are so soft. That's a great way to know if you found it when you're foraging. You can also buy it dried, but taking mullein anytime you have any type of wet cough, any lung issues, any congestion, things like that, it's not necessarily an herb that's going to kind of blast your respiratory issue, but just continue to strengthen your respiratory immunity. It's a fantastic way, and it's safe for children and elderly and everyone in between.
Okay, so you said mullein was one of the 2 things that you like to have on hand. What's the other thing?
Correct. The other thing that I like, and this is a little stronger, not that you have to be worried about the dosage necessarily, it packs more of a punch, and that is usnea. It's a weird word. It's spelled U-S-N-E-A. And think of it like using Mucinex. It really allows that mucus to be thin enough to be coughed up. People always come to me and say, hey, I have a cough. What can I do to treat it? You don't treat a cough. A cough is a symptom. You treat a sickness. And so usnea really allows that cough to be productive and not allow that mucus to get into the lining of your lungs. It's one of our absolute favorites during the winter in order to keep respiratory sicknesses from really developing into the lungs.
Okay. So there's whenever I came over to your house, I think you had like 4 tinctures that you keep, wasn't that? Or maybe there was 3. And what did those treat, the things that you keep made? Like your 4 biggies.
So you can get carried away with tinctures where you just want to make every single herb a tincture to have it in case you need it. And what that does, I did it in the very beginning, it creates waste because then you forget why you made it. The best process that I can describe is to just slowly add a few tinctures and herbs into your repertoire, into your medicine cabinet every few months. And so one that I keep on aid all the time is valerian. Valerian, it's actually really increasing in popularity with all of these alcohol mocktail substitutes. So a lot of them, they're including valerian to kind of get that chill feeling. Valerian is a sedative as well as it helps with pain management. And so that is one that we like to have readily available in order to help sleep and pain as well.
Okay.
Another one would be, we have an immunity builder. I have an immune tonic and builder. And what you want to pay attention to when you're getting into herbs is the word tonic. What that means is that just comes alongside your immune system, your respiratory system, whatever it's targeting, and it just gives it a boost. It gives it a help. And tonics are also able to be taken more long term. Whenever I use the word builder or immunity builder, that's something that, hey, I came in contact with the flu. My kids had started running a fever. I also take it anytime I fly on an airplane commercially, just because of all of the junk going on. And so those are two that we have always. We never run out of them. I give them to my parents every time they run out, give them to my brother. And both of those, we truly combat all sickness in our home with an immunity tonic, a builder, and our garlic honey.
So tell me, why do you think that there's like a big disconnect between people having this knowledge and not having this knowledge? Like, where did this come from? Because, like, man, people back in the day knew some stuff, you know, they knew different plants. And then, like, but why has our society, like, lost this knowledge?
Right. I think part of it is because our society has been so blessed. I think desperation oftentimes breeds knowledge and opportunity. And the way that I like to describe it to people is I will have family and friends come to us and say, hey, my kid just can't quit being sick. What can you give them to make them better? And really, that is the mindset that has tanked us. We are feeding our kids processed crap, high fructose corn syrup, dyes, things like that. But pharmaceutically, we have so many quick fixes that we have no need for holistic immune health. And really during COVID showed us, you know, everyone wanted, what can we take to get rid of this? What can we do? No one wanted to cut out everything that is tanking our immune system or address those factors.
Right.
Whenever we focus on holistic health and we build that knowledge, we don't have to rely on a system. But for so long, the system has worked for us. We are blessed with readily available healthcare, with pharmacies, with medicines. You know, right now, if I had something happen to one of my children, I could easily drive them into the emergency room. And I think we look at early 1900s, especially 1920s, 1930s, not everyone had that. So you kind of had to have your knowledge in a row. You kind of had to have resources and community in order to answer those questions. And I always think of my grandma, who I would start taking this course, and they lived the same way we do now, you know, like processed meats and microwaves and everything like that. But I would mention herbs and she would say, oh yeah, my mom would use that, meaning my great grandma. And you can just see slowly how generation after generation, we embrace ease and quick fix instead of knowledge and truth. And the great thing that I see in our society now is we have a whole generation and a wave of people that are going back to that. And so I think that a lot of these things will begin to flourish now that we see so many people embracing what was.
You know, it's kind of like the whole arrow analogy where we had to be pulled back to slingshot forward. And I do think that our younger generations, you know, they went through stuff that was traumatic with COVID, with all of the fear and all of the uncertainty and with all of the people so polarized, and they're really trying to figure out things for themselves. Talking about finding truth. Okay, so I was a science teacher for 11 years, and man, I am on a carnivore kick right now. And so
Yes.
much stuff that I have read, it is hard for me to accept, you know what I mean, about
Right.
carnivore because it goes against everything that I was taught. And then I have to evaluate where that knowledge came from. And what
Right.
I am finding is a lot of people are doing carnivore, but they're quiet. And a lot of people have so many questions about carnivore. But I mean, I should not be as large as I am based on my activity level and what I have been eating that I viewed as
Hmm.
healthy. And I viewed it
Right.
as healthy because it was told to me that it was healthy.
Right.
So I am on a 6 month journey right now where I am embracing carnivore. I'm kind of like, that song where it's like, Jesus, take the wheel. Well, I'm letting carnivore take the wheel, and I'm going to find out myself. I'm also a big advocate for ice water baths. I have a sauna.
Yeah.
I do grounding, and I'm all about having the beginning rays of the sun in the morning be on my skin. But I also practice this breathing routine that's supposed to just really bring in some oxygen. And a
Right.
lot of those things are free, you know?
Yes. Yes. And that's what I tell people. My husband last year embraced carnivore, and I was livid. I just thought, you are going to die of a heart attack. I sincerely hope we up your life insurance policy. And then I began to look into that more, thinking, okay, I don't want to be blocked off to anything. So my husband and I have both done carnivore. We've both done forks over knives vegan before. We've done every type of um, trend, I guess is what you would call it. And I think that different trends work for different bodies. I have a dear friend right now that's doing carnivore, and she is just not succeeding. Um, but what I come back to every time is the statement, and this is what I say anytime people are saying, I just don't know what to trust, I don't know what to look for, follow the money. And if you can trace the money back to any type of that, we look at the food pyramid. We have been told for decades that we are not competent enough to feed ourselves healthy. So the government needs to give us a pyramid in order to align to. And it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And when you follow the money of that pyramid, you can see exactly why things are the way that they are.
That
And so
pyramid's a
things
lie.
like, yes, it absolutely is. And when you start going down these rabbit holes of money, you start finding why things are recommended. Why was sunblock recommended? Not saying that I want to give my kids skin cancer, but I also want the benefit of the sunshine. We also look at you want everything sanitized. Now, the clean hypothesis. Now we're looking into the benefits of gardening, and the reason that the benefits are so high is not the vegetables that we're getting, but our skin coming in contact with the biology of the soil. That it's literally rejuvenating our immune system. That's
Mm-hmm.
free. Whenever we look at avoiding things like the food pyramid and we look at whole foods, specifically whole foods, nutrient and calorie dense, such as red meat, there's no money to follow there. So the best thing that I can recommend to people is to say, let me take out all the knowledge that I have. Let me set it aside, set it on the shelf. I can come back to it. But let me figure out, where did this come from? And then we'll start to see more truth.
Well, and right now, um, man, everything that we've been told, we have an obesity epidemic in front of us.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yes.
Girl, I am a former athlete. I have fought in 5 countries trying to go to the Olympics as a heavyweight fighter. I weigh in this morning at 325 pounds. Okay? And you know what? Whenever
Right.
people look at me and they say, you need to exercise more and eat less, I literally want to like, boom, boom, like throat punch somebody. Okay? I'm not like,
Yes.
oh, they could not compete with me and they couldn't even hang with me for a day. And I'm like, no,
Right.
something's got to give. So like, I feel like all of the marketing that's going towards the children and about these unhealthy foods and the colors and just what's being put in the food that's being fed to everyone, it's criminal. I mean,
Yes.
like, I
It
cannot.
absolutely is.
Oh, I mean, like, we're poisoning us. And then I will tell you, I have had so many people tell me, well, why don't you just have the surgery? Or why don't you just have this shot? Or why don't you just have this pill? And I'm like, you know what? Whenever I travel to another country, I can eat the food and it doesn't make me sick. And a lot of
Yes.
times, store-bought breads here, they make me make so much mucus. And I'm like, what is
Right.
this all about? And then I go to Mexico and I can eat bread all day long and not get sick. Or I can have pasta in Italy and not make a bunch of mucus and get sick. But here, I can't. So
Right.
our food is an issue. And you know what, for living in one of like the best countries in the world, right? Everybody wants to come to the United States. Why did we get to that we are being
Right.
like lied to? Like it's literally money and power that is like I shouldn't have to be the one that somebody's making money off of. It shouldn't be you. It shouldn't be your kids. Like, how did we get to this point? It's just a
Right.
rough place
And
to
I do
be.
think, yes, and I do think freedom is such a gift and such a blessing. But with freedom, we have to have knowledge. And I think the fact that our country is allowed so many privileges and freedoms is wonderful. But if we do not have knowledge and take it responsibly, then we end up where we are today.
Right.
And then with a government and a system that is telling us what to think in that freedom. And so I really see the tide turning in the last even 5 years to people just realizing we've been hoodwinked. Like, this is not okay. This is not what we want. This is criminal to force this upon our children and our families. And I would even go so far to think as anyone that hasn't woken up to that, it's coming.
Yeah, most definitely. So with your medicinal herbs, okay, you have things that you take to help with medicine, things that you take to help with pain. Now then, you also have stuff like your skin is radiating. So like what do like what else do you use?
Well, in 2014, I can vividly remember going into our master bathroom and throwing everything in the trash. And I was a Bath and Body Works major supporter. Okay. Like, I loved my skincare. Okay. And I just threw it all out. And I'm just that kind of person. I either go all in or I won't commit. Last year I bought a grain mill and I threw out everything processed in the house. And it was a long road, but because I went all in, I had to succeed. And so I started using only holistic products on our skin. And I think we see trends and we see fads, but basically the purer you get, you can't go wrong. So the only soap that we use in our house is a Pure Lye or a pure castile liquid soap. The only thing I use on my face ever is almond oil in order to moisturize or correct or anything. And then we use tallow for the rest of our body. I have not personally loved tallow on my face, but I know that other people have great success with it. And we basically just go as pure as possible. We do not generally use sunscreen unless it's a very harsh environment. And we live simply. I think that says a lot. I don't wear makeup every day. I don't do facial treatments and Botox. We just put a lot of care into the simplistic and purity of our ingredients.
So I have an app on my phone called I think it's called Yucca. It's YUKA. And you're able to scan the barcode on stuff, and it tells you anything that's like hazardous in it. I had to go through my whole everything. I had to go through cleaning products that are endocrine disruptors. And on a scale of 0 to 100, we had so many things that scored 0 or a single digit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this causes, like, there was something that caused like liver cancer. And I was like, why is this sold to me? And
yes,
so
absolutely.
I've been on a journey with that. I use the heck out of tallow, and I'm putting essential oils in it. I learned how to make our own soap. And you know what? Making like one of those big old, I don't know, it's about the size of like a Velveeta cheese thing, but it's like maybe 1.5 of those, of the big ones. That soap lasts forever. I'm kind of worried that I'm going to learn how to make soap, and by the time I need soap again, I'm going to have to relearn it because it's going to last us forever.
Yes, and it's very cost effective.
Oh, yeah. And I used to do all sorts of Bath and Body Works lotions and body sprays and all that. And oh my gosh, it was enlightening of how toxic that stuff was. And so,
yes, especially to women.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I threw it all out. And you know what, my friends, one of them gave me some stuff from Bath and Body Works this year. And it smelled so good because I haven't had any of that around. I went to put it on my hands, and I was like, I just can't do it. And she did give me a body spray also, and now I'm like, man, I want to just stop wearing all of that. I don't put the body spray on my body. Now I put it onto my clothes, and it's on the outside, you know. I know it's bad for me, but I still love the way it smells. So I'm trying to find like this healthy, where I can, still be a normal person, I guess. I don't know.
Right. I think too, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think too, the more that we get away from things like that, we start to crave it less. And I remember back in 2014 when I threw everything in the trash, about 6 months later, we went to buy a car, and I went into the restroom of the car dealership, and they had my favorite Bath and Body Works scent. And I was so excited because I thought, I'm just going to indulge in this hand washing experience that I have not had for 6 months. And so I washed my hands, and we were test driving the car, and my hands began to itch, and then my eyes began to swell. Mm-hmm. And I haven't had that since then, anytime I'm out and about and using soaps. But I was like, oh my word, I cannot believe that my body is reacting this way after not having it for so long. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I thought, I don't desire this anymore. All of a sudden, the wish that I had this was gone because I saw the negative effects and the changes that I had made bettering my body.
Right.
And like even today, I love scents. I think every female is the same. And I think that's why they market us these crap laundry detergents and candles and soaps. But I have one candle brand that I will ever buy. I have essential oils that I use. And I think just saying, okay, I'm not giving something up. I'm embracing more than I had is what helped me get through that transition.
Boy, this winter, I went through our kitchen and was like, I'm done with Teflon. I'm done with, all the nonstick. I got rid of all the aluminum pans. And then I got rid of all the plastic utensils and like
Yes.
spatulas and stuff. And my husband was like, Brandy, we only have one utensil that is wood. And I kind of messed us up a little bit because I was like, well, I knew that if I didn't throw it all away, that I would be like, oh, I need to get that. I need to get that. Well, no, when you throw it away, you really do need to go get the new stuff. And so,
Right. Yes.
so this year, I'm really trying to clean up my kitchen. And you know what I have found is I can't get all of the plastic completely out. Like, for example, I did get rid of all of my Tupperware and stuff, or stuff like that. You know, I don't even think I owned real Tupperware, right? But my Pyrexes, they have a plastic top, but I don't mind putting food in there
Right.
because my food doesn't
Yes,
touch
I
the
agree.
plastic. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I got to get rid of my Keurig, my K-Cups.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I just thought that was the classiest thing in the world, you know? And because I was like,
Yeah.
look at all these flavors. This is so great. I get to have an individualized cup. Like, I felt bougie, you know? Like, I was like, look at me.
Right.
But then every time that punctures a hole in that plastic, we are consuming microplastics. And so I'm like,
Right.
okay,
Absolutely.
I do not want them to cut me open one day and be like, whoa, that girl had like 7 pounds of plastic in her. So I that's my
Yeah.
new thing. I'm all about my French press, and you know what? It's better. It is so much
Yes.
better. So
I agree. I think a lot of these changes too, you can get so overwhelmed with everything you need to do. Just take your time, and every change, every step makes a difference. After over 10 years of doing this, just this last month, I switched out all of our bedding to organic cotton bedding, you know, and that's been a 10-year health journey that I'm just now getting around to that. And
girl,
then you see how much more you love and respond to things. And I think it kind of, that's your, that's the bread and butter right there, is this is better. The fresh milled noodles are better. The French press is better. The cotton is better.
girl, explain these sheets to me, because I thought like the best sheets in the world were going to be the Egyptian, whatever, high thread count. And so explain these.
And maybe they're good, but when you live in a house with 3 girls that want to switch up their room every 2 years, you're just buying whatever sheets are cute. You know, you're just,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a polyester blend. I don't know. These were on sale. These are what I love. And so I began to pay attention to organic cotton and how it responds to our body, especially women. Women have to guard our endocrine system so well, because we look at the storage of extra estrogen is absolutely killing us. So every little step that we can take to help that, and one of those this year was for our family, organic cotton sheets, which we did find at TJ Maxx. So
Okay, well, I'm writing that down. Organic cotton sheets. I had no clue. Yeah, I don't know, it wasn't even on my radar. You know, this year for me is the shampoos and the conditioners. I want to get to
yes,
where I make my own. My hair's been color treated for forever, and I'm trying to do that way less because I know I'm just putting chemicals right on my scalp, but I'm not ready to give it up. So
right,
I just do it way
right,
less, and I have like a gray all the way around my face, and that's where I'm mostly gray, but I'm getting where I embrace it more. But I really need
right.
conditioner, so that's
Yes,
my thing this year is shampoo and conditioner. I've got to figure out something healthy with that. And we're going to get rid of fabric softener. And, a lot of people think that you've got to have a scent for something to be clean. But if something is clean, it is scentless. So that's
right,
like, that was a big eye opener for me because I used to want my clothes to smell like laundry detergent, but that's not clean.
right,
That's something in there, and it's touching your largest organ in your, body. So,
Right, right.
well, hey, last year, with you being a presenter at the Country Tough Homesteading Expo, which people can find at countrytoughhomesteading.com, tell me some things that you liked about presenting, and then what's your thoughts on people attending expos and stuff?
Okay. Presenting, that was my first time at a large expo. And I loved it. It was very intimidating to me and at the same time absolutely exhilarating. Um, the the staff and Brandy Von Holten made it just enjoyable for our whole family. They made our whole family feel special and loved. And the thing that I loved about the Country Tough Homesteading Expo was that I feel like a lot of expos you go to, you are trading what you want to hear because you can't go to everything at the same time. And because yours was a little more intentional and a smaller scale, we were able to get every single presenter that we wanted to go to, as well as have one-on-one time with those presenters. And one that stands out to me was a man that was there talking about seed saving. And I thought, oh, well, I don't really need to know anything about this. Like, I save seeds. And when I sat through his lesson, I actually thought, oh, I'm doing 100% everything wrong. And I was able to ask him one-on-one, very detailed questions, and completely changed my gardening strategy based on what he said. And I think when you are really serious about making changes and getting knowledge, that type of one-on-one atmosphere is just absolutely invaluable. And especially from coming from people that are not, they're doing the same thing. They're learning and growing the same way you are. And so we loved it.
So the Country Tough Homesteading Expo last year kind of scared me because it was just a new avenue for us. Like, we have done weddings. We have been in the horse trail riding industry for now 11 years. We're going on 11 years this year. So, but the homesteading thing is something that I find near and dear to my heart. I just needed to believe in myself about, being a host for it. Well, now with this year, I believe in ourselves because we have a century farm. It's been in the same family since 1906. And we know how to do, we didn't realize how much stuff that we knew how to do. And I did not realize how many people I knew to be able to bring in to do an expo. And we're in a great place for it. But I love that people get to come to an actual working ranch, and do this stuff. And we also have so many people that are Mennonite that they never had the opportunity to stop using the lost knowledge that now people are wanting to learn. So I love that. And this year, everybody always wants their event to be so big. I don't want mine to be super big. I want to limit mine and still be able to allow people to be able to go to every presentation. I don't want it to be overly crowded because my goal is to educate people, and you can't do that without it being hands-on. And that's what I really like about ours, is that we get you into the kitchen, we take you out to the garden, we take you out to our cattle working pens. I mean, it is hands-on. And that's what I want ours to be different, because I'm not trying to have 30,000 people. I really want to have something that's 1,000 people, and then have another expo, and then once those tickets are sold, then they're sold, and then people will sign up quicker the next time. But my goal is to have an expo every season of the year for people to actually be able to learn, like, the things that they need to learn going on seasonally, because it is different.
I love it.
Yeah, that's my goal, is to have something that's just, I want to max out the one that's in June, and then the following year have two and do them in different seasons.
Yes. So. And I love to, speaking to it being at your home in a working farm, I love as a mom too, that it feels like such a safe environment with like-minded people that my children loved it. Like, there's a large homesteading expo very close to us every year, with big names that we've loved every year. And the kids just seeing everything, it was definitely next level.
Okay. We had a lot of people that have went to numerous amounts of expos, and they were like, Brandy, this is great because it's hands-on. And, I think that goes back to, I was a school teacher. And not about my teaching ability, but what I know of how people need to learn. There's so many different learning styles, but the one that really helps out a lot of people is hands-on. And you can't just sit and look at a PowerPoint and learn something or read something. But whenever you have a handout, plus we're like, hey, try this. Okay, here, what do you think about that? Like, oh my gosh, the kombucha class, whenever people got to actually touch the SCOBY and they were like, ugh, that is a lot thicker than what I thought it was going to be. And they're like, how does this work? And just really letting people see the simplicity of stuff, but it's not simple until you learned it. I mean, it's kind of like cooking with your Instapot or cooking with your air fryer. That's the scariest thing in the world until you learn it. So,
right, and then you teach it.
Yeah. Well, if people want to come to that expo, it's countrytoughhomesteading.com, and we host classes with Tiffany here also. So on that website, it says expo, it says in-person classes. There's other things up at the top, but those are the expo and the in-person classes. And if you're wanting to find Tiffany, where can they find you?
Well, I don't have a large business page or following. They can find us at reedsandreshes@gmail.com, which is the name of our farm, or they can look me up personally on social media, Tiffany Butters on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay. All right. And I'm Brandy Von Holten. You can look me up at brandyvonholten.com. I will tell you, you're going to see a plus size lady doing ice water baths if you look me up too much on social media. And then whenever I'm doing that, I'm just giving you all sorts of knowledge for free. Okay. And you can look us up Von Holten Ranch if you want to come and do trail riding. We do not have rental horses. We're more of a camping facility and people bring their own horses, or you can look up Country Tough Homesteading. The last thing is Tiffany is actually a contributor to our magazine that's called Country Tough Times, and it comes out 6 times a year. And Tiffany is one of our people that's actually going to be in every edition for 2025, and that comes out soon. You can find that magazine at countrytoughtimes.com. And thank you for tuning into Country Tough with Brandy Von Holten.